Dear authors and invited guests, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 6th International Congress of Information and Communication through Zoom on behalf of ICICT 2021 and the Global Knowledge Foundation. As everyone is passing through unforeseen circumstances due to COVID-19, we wish everyone and their families a safe time, and hopefully together we'll pass through this soon. Further, with immense happiness, I would like to share that we have received an overwhelming response this year from across 90 countries, where 1,150 papers were received and 350 papers were accepted, contributing to the success of this conference. And the papers will be published in 4 volumes this year. We're thankful to all our guests for their presence on this platform, and we'd like to thank you for joining us digitally this year through the conference in these unprecedented times. To make, hopefully these conferences will still be more than fruitful enough in terms of technical knowledge, and we hope that you enjoy this last session of the 2021 CICIT conference in partnership with Global Knowledge Research Foundation. I'd now like to welcome you to our chair for this session, Dr. Narendra Londe from India. And this session is about health informatics. I'll just give a little bit of a background on Dr. Londe just before we start. So he's presently an associate professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering at the National Institute of Technology in Raipur, Chhattisgarh in India. He completed his B from Amravati University in 2000, followed by an MTech and PhD from the Indian Institute of Technology in Roorkee in the year of 2006 and 11 respectively. He has 14 years of rich experience of academics and research, and he has published more than 120 articles in recognized journals, conferences, and books. His main areas of research include medical signal and image processing, biomedical instrumentation, speech signal processing, biometrics, intelligent healthcare, brain-computer inference, artificial intelligence, and pattern recognition. He has been awarded by organizations like the Taiwan Society of Ultrasound in Medicine and the Ultrasonic Society of India and NIT Raipur. He is an active member of different recognized societies across his areas of research, including senior membership of the IEEE. So welcome you, Dr. Londe. Thank you for being here. If you just want to say a few words before we start.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much for such a nice introduction. I also welcome all the speakers today and the attendees to this session of health informatics. It is indeed this is a last session, but yes, all the papers that is included in these sessions are having very informative topics, and I hope that we'll be having a great time in this session. So thank you once again, Jay, and maybe we can begin with the session, please.
Perfect, thank you. I'd just like to quickly remind all the speakers and presenters that you do have 12 minutes to present, please. We are on a time schedule, I understand, but just if it is dragging on a little bit too much, do not take any offense if I do just nudge you to try and finish up within the next 1 to 2 minutes. Let us get on with the session. So our first speaker is Meena Ismaili Zaidi Norju Kamber from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, United States of America. And the title of her paper is Clinical Text Classification of Alzheimer's Drugs Mechanism and Action. Welcome, Meena.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. What I'll do is I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll allow you to get your presentation up and continue when you are ready to do so.
Thank you. Okay, can you see my screen right now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, my name is Meena Kamber. I'm a PhD student in the Computer Science Department of University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I'm glad to be here to talk about our research, especially our paper about clinical text classification and Alzheimer's drugs mechanism of action. Let me at first give you an overview of how this presentation is going to be. In the first step, I'll talk a little bit about the introduction and background of our research and the data sets we collected and the data preparation steps we have done. And finally, I talk about the methods we applied and the results we have got. In the last decades, actually, online websites has provided us this opportunity to collect data from different disease and treatment all over the world. And sometimes, as a data scientist, you can see that you deal with large data sets which are unlabeled, unstructured, and but in this case, what we had is a kind of well-organized data sets, but the problem was they were not collected in the same location. So someone which doesn't have any background with computer science maybe find it difficult to work with this kind of data sets. There's a group in brain health department of our university, UNLV. And what they are doing is that they are writing a kind of annual report on Alzheimer's drugs progression, because this progression is slow and they need to keep track of this progression. What they are doing is that they are collecting data from clinical trial.gov dataset website and allsform.org website, especially therapeutics datasets, and they're putting them together. And what they need to do is to read large text file in order to categorize and label different drugs mechanism of action. Here, over the right side, you can see how they are categorizing different drugs to, for example, here to these three categories: symptom reducing, small molecule, disease modifying, and other categories. So as long as this data is becoming larger and larger and the text file are becoming more than just a few things that's being done by human, they need some kind of automation to doing their stuff. So what we had done is we collected all data for them, and then we route something like web crawling to collect the data, and we eventually got 233 labeled data about the drugs text. Okay, and our method should categorize the drugs mechanism of action by doing some machine learning methods, and I'm going to talk about it in the next slides. But right now, if I'm going to talk about the data set size was 7,693 sentences and 1,024 180 words. And we had to actually categorize this data, classify this data into two main categories: small molecule and disease modifying therapies. So we use 75% of our data, about 186 record for the training set, and 25% for 47 records as the test set. And one problem was that the data set was imbalanced, and we had to find a solution for that. So we apply synthetic minority oversampling smoothie to get the data set balance. So after smoothie, we got 141 records as the test set for each class. And then we, like any other NLP stuff, we tried to clean the data. We removed stop words and punctuation, extra white spaces, undesirable characters, removed words with no meaningful information from the data. And after working a little bit with data, we realized that it's not a kind of data which you can get the meaning by context. So it was more likely statically data. It means that some kind of criteria like CF-ITF, which more likely works with term frequency inverse document frequency, which is statically actually evaluates and evaluate the documents. Okay, these kind of criteria were working better, so we use TF-IDF to present the word matrix in our implementation. Then we feed the TF-IDF matrices to different machine learning methods like random forest, logistic regression, support vector matching, XGBoost decision tree. You know, it's a kind of pretty common job in, I guess, in this stuff, because we have read a lot of papers that are actually using different machine learning methods to get which one is working better. I've read some paper for lung cancer, for this cause clarification, okay, and categorizing them based on their cancer-based tests or not cancer-based tests. So we did something same. We apply different machine learning methods to get to know how to categorize the text file. You know, we couldn't use better models, right, BERT or something like that, because these kind of neural network models need pretty large data set, but well, unfortunately our data sets was not as large as be usable for neural network models. Sorry. Here you can see the results. You can see that the best we actually evaluate the models using four criteria: precision, recall, F1 score, accuracy, and you can see that the best accuracy is for decision tree, 0.95. But you can see that SVM and logistic regression has got better precision. It means that when these two models are gonna label a record, what they are doing is that they're doing it more carefully, so they have got better precision in comparison with decision tree. You can see ROC curve comparison here on the left side, and it's based on these tables, so they're actually something the same. Okay, then you can see the decision tree visually over here, and you can see that there are some specific words like antibody, like delivered, mimics. Okay, you can see that these specific words are playing an important role to split the tree. We are using Gini index to split the tree, and over here you can see that for 40 records, Gini index decision tree can actually predicting 34 records correctly. And for implementing our methods, we have used Python, GenSim to clean the text, sklearn for ML models, and Pandas for holding and working with data statically. You know, as a conclusion, I can say that maybe, you know, we could work more with the parameters of some kind of models like XGBoost, and change the hyperparameters working with them. But you know, the decision tree accuracy was pretty good. It was 0.95. That's why we stopped working and actually evaluating them more and more. Maybe we're gonna work more on those hyperparameter. And you know, this job was a small part of a larger project, which is actually information retrieval from clinicaltrial.gov dataset. And that's why actually we need a kind of lightweight model to be a part of that information retrieval project. And this is the reference of that picture. And thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Thank you very much for your presentation, Mina. Do you have any questions, Dr. Londe?
Yeah, thank you, Mina, for your nice presentation. One thing is there that I want to ask you, that while doing the data preparation to handle the imbalance, you have used the oversampling method, isn't it?
Yeah, I've used smoothing.
Yeah. But how do you, why oversampling? It may have a problem of undersampling as well. Can't it be?
What do you mean by the problem? Oversampling, we use actually. Okay, go ahead.
I am saying that how do you find that it will suffer with the problem of oversampling when the data is imbalanced?
You know, when we actually balance the data using oversampling, you can see that actually you know, you can see that when the data is balanced, we use different oversampling, you know, actually reducing it, and then we actually try to use different methods, and this smoothie works better. That's why we choose this. And in the first phase, in the first step, we had 175 records for the first class, okay, and 56 record as the second class. And when we actually balance the data, okay, and we allocate 141 records for each, okay, you can see that it worked fine. But I don't know, what do you mean by suffering from oversampling? Because it was good for the data.
Okay, fine. Another question is that, what I feel that this is something that you are identifying the text, okay, from the records. So how it is, how you can say that it is different than any other OCR, optical character recognition techniques and all? Is it not?
Sorry,
it is not very similar. It is not very similar that already exists in the literature, like OCR and everything.
You know, no, it's not based off OCR, because OCR stands for optical character recognition, and in OCR cases, you have the data as a kind of, you know, OCR, a kind of image, optical case. Okay, so no, it's not OCR, because the texts are pretty clean, and you're getting them from the data set. Because, you know, UNLV is a kind of OCR center here. My advisor is a kind of OCR advisor here, but it's not OCR at all, because the text is different, and sometimes you can see that the texts are, you know, are more likely are achieved from some samples, okay, some PDF from the manufacturer websites, and they are not OCR. They are clean text. They're not OCR.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Meena. Thank you for your views. Any question from the others audience?
What we'll do is we'll leave audience questions to the end. We'll just carry on with our presentations, and we'll do the audience questions at the end.
Let's go to the next then.
So our next presenter is Tamanna Shaun from Bangladesh, Bark University, and her paper title is Low-Cost Health Mentoring Systems, a Smart Technological Device for Elderly People. So Mr. Tamanna, if you are here.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. Sir, I need the permission for screen sharing.
Yes, the co-moderator will do that now. I have stopped sharing my screen, so you should be able to do that from your
thank you, sir.
down below. We are able to see your slides.
Thank you, sir. Then may I start?
Yes, you can go ahead, please.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Welcome to my presentation, and thank you all for giving me the opportunity to represent my work in ICCIT 2021. I am Tamanna Shaun. I have completed my master's in Tripoli from BRAC University. I am also thankful to work with Professor Dr. Muhammad Shohrab Hossain, Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, and Tasnim Mariam Mukur from United International University. So welcome to my presentation. My presentation title is Low Cost Health Monitoring System, a Smart Technological Device for Elderly People. Here is the total outline of my presentation, and the outline contents are objectives, then motivations, introduction to IoT, proposed system architecture, then major components required, flowchart of the system, hardware implementation, result and comparison, conclusion, and future work. The main objectives behind this work is to propose a new architecture for IoT-based health monitoring system for elderly people, especially in a situation like COVID-19. To implement a prototype for the proposed system, then from this system we can collect health-related data such as ECG, heart rate, temperature, oxygen level in blood using different wearable sensors. Then to analyze all the collected data in database and send emergency notification to authorized doctors and registered patients for any abnormalities found. To design a easily accessible health monitoring system so the doctors can check patients' body condition to study, prescribe, and provide emergency email in time of need, and to design the system in a cost-effective manner. Here are the motivations behind this work. To give proper health care to patient to maximize the satisfaction of users with minimum cost. Using this device, a patient health can easily be monitored staying at home, so they don't need not to visit the doctors regularly, and it can reduce the risk of disability and mortality rate due to cardiovascular disease, can monitor ECG, pulse rate, temperature, and oxygen level in blood. Then it's come to the point, what is IoT? Introduction to IoT. Then we can say that IoT is a technology, Internet of Things, is a thing that allows object to be sensed and controlled remotely across existing network infrastructure. The IoT is connected for a wide range of applications. Here you can see a picture how IoT is connected to all over the things in nowadays, like smart cities, intelligent transportation, waste management, healthcare, agriculture, security emergency, smart grid and metering system, etc. The major hardware components required for this work are Raspberry Pi 3B+, then Arduino Uno, ECG sensor AD8232, temperature sensor, pulse oximeter sensor, MAX 30100, and 5-inch display and a camera. Major components are shown in this diagram used in this work. Here is the features of Raspberry Pi 3B+, and the sensors AD8232, ADS1115, then temperature sensor DS18B20, and pulse oximeter sensor MAX 30100, and a camera module for Raspberry Pi. Here is the proposed system architecture of a IoT-based health monitoring system. In this figure 10, a proposed architecture has been shown. At first, we have to collect all the health-related data using wearable sensors from a patient body. The wearable sensors used here are the ECG sensor, temperature sensor, camera sensor, and pulse oximeter sensor. After collecting the data from the patient's body by using a sensor interfacing, we can send it to the Raspberry Pi. In Raspberry Pi, all the data are collected and saved, and via Wi-Fi, which is built in Raspberry Pi, the data are sent to the cloud server for further analysis. Here is the flowchart of the total system. First, we have to start the system, then it will check the modular is on or off. If the modular is off, then the system will go to an end. If the modular is on, then it will collect data, save data into Pi, and if it get further connectivity, I mean network connectivity, then it will send and save data into cloud and analysis data. If not, then the system will end, and if it gets connectivity of network and abnormality is found, then an emergency email option has been here to send automatic email, and the process will go through like this. Here is the implemented hardware or physical appearance of the health monitoring device. Now, what is ECG or ECG measuring procedure? ECG is an electrocardiography process of recording the electrical activity of the heart over a period of time using electrodes placed over the skin. There are two methods of measuring ECG. Normally, in hospital, they use 12-lead ECG, which is standard, and another we can implement in low cost. Here I have implemented that is known as 3-lead ECG, which is low cost. Here is the ECG curve. We can see that the curve shows PQ, R, S, and T terminal. Here we can see that PR interval, then RR interval, QR is complex, ST segment, QT interval. Here is the 3-lead electrode placement in human body. Normal value of key ECG parameter are RR interval, normal range in second 0.6 to 0.1, then PR interval 0.1 to 0.20, QT interval 0.32 to 0.044, and QRS complex is less than 0.12. The reference has been shown here, which I have collected this data. Here is the ECG report taken from a patient by the system we have implemented. This curve shows that there is the RR interval is normal and the QRS complex is also normal. So the patient is not suffering from any kind of diseases like arrhythmia or any kind of heart disease. So the patient's condition is normal. Then for further result analysis, here is the reference data for pulse rate, blood oxygen level, and temperature detection. We can detect several diseases from this from the other three sensors, from like bradycardia, tachycardia for abnormal heart rate, then fever, hypothermia for abnormal temperature, blood oxygen level. We can get hypoxemia and ABC from all the collected data. Here is the just a reference table here. And the result analysis continued for further discussion. We have tested our prototype on several healthy volunteers to detect the primary health conditions of a patient. The prototype device are tested on 10 patients at the cardiology department of Delta Medical College and Hospital, and we have got 80% efficiency in detecting ECG condition. And this prototype has also been tested in the emergency department, and other details shown approximately 99.7% efficient to detect primary health disease of an elderly patient. We have a website for our system. This is the homepage of our health monitoring system. In order to view the real-time data from the sensor, a live server with a database is needed. Initially, a local server has been created to test this prototype device. Here is the registration and login page. If this page is available for patient, an user, and a doctor from the admin which it controls. Actually, if any user wants to use this system, he or she have to register as a patient or as a doctor to log into the website. To do the registration, they have to enter the information like username, email address, then password, mobile number, age, and their home address. After registration has been completed, the user can log in by simply entering the username and the password. After logging in as a patient, they can able to see the health related data and ECG curve. When a doctor logs into the website, he can access the data of a specific patients who are registered under his assistance. Here is the patient health related data that showed in website. We can see the data has been taken on several dates, then the ECG conditions, then heart rate, percentage of blood in oxygen, then body temperature in centigrade, and also in Fahrenheit, and the ECG curve also. Then if any abnormalities is found, then an email notification, an emergency email notification will be sent to the patient, and the doctor can also communicate via live chat through our website, and an emergency email will be sent for emergency purpose basically. That is the total cost analysis of this health monitoring device. The total cost of the health monitoring system for elderly people device will be 195 USD approximately, which is low for developing and underdeveloped countries. Here is a summary of this total work. We have measured the ECG parameter efficiently. Compared to 12-lead ECG system, this 3-lead ECG system is 80% efficient. Then we measured the heart rate, blood oxygen level, temperature efficiently. This is almost 100% efficient compared with the other device available in the market. Monitored patient 24 hours by using the camera module, emergency email notification sent for emergency purpose. Then doctors can prescribe the patients via email. It is also a cost-effective system. The advantage of these systems is easy to use, and it requires no special training to operate it. It's portable and it is not expensive to go compared with the hospitals. As the limitations, I can say that 3-lead ECG sometimes cannot give appropriate values for sometimes. So this is one of the limitations. And if high magnetic field near to the machine is shown, then low muscle noise will distract the main signal. So sometimes the curve can deviate or create problems. So high magnetic field should be removed before we have done the experiment or before to collect the data. Here is the future scope. The future work will be included blood pressure monitoring, glucose level monitoring, respiratory rate calculation in case of health monitoring by using the wearable sensors also. For further reliability and security purpose, we can add a fingerprint sensor or face recognition for individual patients registration can be done. We can also build a mobile application. So the people who who can carry a smartphone with internet connection can easily check his or her current health conditions and take medicine in proper time. The research can also be continued to detect different kinds of skin diseases like measles, chickenpox, etc. Here is the reference I have used in this paper. Thank you all for have patience and giving me the opportunity to.
Thank you very much for
present my
your
paper.
presentation, Michelle. Dr. Lode, if you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Tamanna. Nice presentation from you. It's really nice to see that you have prepared this low-cost device for elderly people, as you are saying. I have one thing to ask. See, there are all these sensors that you have used. They are wired sensors. So, are they not uncomfortable? They will not make uncomfortable to the patients. Is it not good to wear such that wristbands nowadays coming in the market, which are having almost the cost that you have been mentioning here, which is not involving any wires in it, and it is a totally optical based. So how would you like to convince that your system will be better than that?
Yes, sir. I am working on that already. I have already discussed this in the future scope that I am working on that to make it more simplify and to do all the things.
Second thing is that though whatever that ECG signal that you are saying, you are correctly saying that whatever the diseases that can be actually predicted based on the heart rate, that is only possible whatever the ECG that you are acquiring with your device. But the detailed cardiological condition may not be possible because it is not giving any P wave, it is not giving total QRS wave, it is not giving total T wave. Okay, so it is more or less what we are using in the that fit bands and all. So and second thing is that somewhere you also have to see, like you have said that if there can be a interference from the or artifacts because of the muscular movements, so those things need to be addressed. So how would you like to include those things in your system? Do you know any artifact removing methods?
So I didn't get it last point actually.
I mean to say that whatever the signals that you are taking, they may get interfered with the noises, right? Isn't it?
Yes,
So
sir.
have you included any noise removal techniques into your system?
Actually, sir, I wired the total system in a manner that it cannot distort further. Actually, I have faced this problem previously when I implement this, but after that I have recovered this problem actually. Sir.
Okay, okay, thank you. But
Okay, sir, welcome, sir.
the noises can come from many sources. It's not only muscular movement; it can be power interference and many other things. So
Yes,
I
sir.
think I suggest you better focus on that as well. That will make your system more robust. Okay, thank you,
Okay, sir,
Tamanna.
I will. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Jay, over to
Assalamualaikum.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation and your answers, Ms. Schoen. We'll move on now to our next presentation, who's from Mr. Vasil Urstein. I'm so sorry if I've pronounced that wrong, sir. He is from the National Technical University of Ukraine, and his paper title is Video Recordings of and Archiving of Surgical Operations. Sir, if you can unmute yourself, then we can carry on with our presentation.
Hello to all.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, you're right. My surname is hard to pronounce.
I do apologize for that.
No problem at all. Okay, so shall we start? Now I'm presenting our paper, Video Recording and Archiving of Surgical Operations. First of all, I want to apologize for possible interference due to internet problems since I'm in the countryside now with the unstable mobile internet connection. So the paper we are presenting is a debatable one. I would say that its main purpose is to share an idea. And let me share with you the prehistory of this idea. About 40 years ago, I almost lost a person very close to me as a result of medical negligence. She had a cotton swab left inside her during childbirth. Then, for more than a week, she fought for her life. Doctors explained everything with problems with her body and desperately looked for possible and impossible reasons. Any suggestion that doctors could have done something wrong during childbirth, the medical staff immediately rejected. It was impossible to even start a normal conversation on this topic. All that remained was to pray to a higher power for help. The woman survived. The body itself pushed out the unfortunate swab, and it saved her life. There are many such examples in our lives, and already in our time, even with the increased openness of society, the issue of control over the provision of medical services is not simplified, but becomes more and more problematic. There will be those who disagree with us. They will say that there are already many hospitals equipped with a video surveillance system. We agree with this, but existing systems are not systems of total control. They are rather business projects. In order to advertise their activities, the management of the medical institution will show you all the possibilities in data recording and management. But in case of complications after surgery due to negligence of medical staff or through the fault of the medical institution, this system will be inoperable. So it was, so it is, and so it will always be. Many developments have been made in the field of digital telemedicine in the world. You can take a lot of borrowings from them. What these borrowings may be is not the subject of today's report, but the work already done is work of another plan. These are business projects. All these developments are aimed at providing services to health professionals in the course of their professional activities or to patients to meet their needs in terms of treatment or diagnosis of the disease. They are well developed and fairly complete, but these are the works like the systems of assisting the driver of the car while driving. And we offer something else. We propose to create a system of total quality control of medical services. In the given analogy with the drivers of vehicles, it's like a system of full control of actions of the driver while driving. It's not the same thing. Control and help can complement each other, but they are different things. We offer a control system, control over the provision of medical services by medical workers to the population during surgical operations and as well childbirth. What is it? Any surgical operation and any penetration into the internal organs of a person in a medical institution, regardless of ownership, must be carried out under a video surveillance system with subsequent mandatory documentation in an electronic database, access to which should be equated to access to state electronic databases with limited access. Such an electronic database must be state-owned and have the status of a unified state electronic database of surgical operations and childbirth. It should be owned by the state and managed by, for example, Ministry of Health. And the technical administrator should be a state-owned enterprise designated by the government. This database must be used when performing any surgical operation in any person and when giving birth throughout the country or even or when performing any intervention or penetration into the internal organs of a person. It should be noted that first, this should be a control system. All surgical operations in the country should be carried out under video surveillance with the subsequent obligatory documentation in an electronic database in which nobody has the right to edit and enter any changes to the information that is recorded. The issue of the rights and forms of access of patients or healthcare professionals to the data in which they personally appear should be discussed separately when creating the system and should be regulated by corresponding state standards. The fundamental difference between the existing technologies of documenting medical videos and the proposed one is a complete ban on editing information from the video system at all stages of its life cycle. Software must be created that will make it impossible to make any changes at any time and by any person to the information received from the medical support video system from its beginning to its end. This should be a very complex, costly, and strictly standardized state system of quality control of medical services provided to the population. At the stage of formation, it will be accompanied by considerable opposition from state and non-state bodies, including the medical staff of medical institution. Its functioning should be regulated by multiple state standards and rely on appropriate legislative state support. It is necessary not only to create a technical system, the necessary experience and facilities already exist. It is necessary to create the regulatory framework as it concerns at least the personal data of both patients and health professionals, to develop mechanisms to ensure the integrity and access to such a system, to determine approaches to creating such a system at the state level. Appropriate programs should be adopted to create such a system at the state level, as this is not a matter for individual medical institutions. On the contrary, government agencies must persuade medical institutions to properly adopt such a system and use it in their daily activities. We believe that such a system can be a prelude to creating a system, for example, of total control of drivers' actions while driving, when cars are equipped with tools that prevent the movement of the broken car. They will block inadequate driver attempts to create threatening situations on the road and will record and transmit to the relevant database all the video information that accompanies the movement of the car. It is safe to say that the creation of a surgical registration system will take a long time. And first, you need to decide on approaches to creating such a system. In this regard, it's worth noting that Babbage's analytical machine, for example, was created in the 18th century and praised by the British government, but was assessed as not relevant at that time. Perhaps that is why the real computer boom began almost 100 years later. I would like to know that in this matter, we have not even approached the stage of a technical proposal. We are now at the stage of determining the feasibility of such work as such. It is possible that something is being done in this regard in other countries, but we haven't seen in open sources. Is it worth doing? This is extremely necessary despite all resistance and obstacles. It's too early or too late to do this now. The time is just right. The world is more technically and methodologically ready for this than ever. It's a difficult job, but there is experience in creating and operating such systems. In the future, all countries of the world will go through this. It is only a matter of time. The country that does this first will have significant advantages. We are convinced that in the future, state electronic databases of surgical operations will be created in many countries of the world, after which a global electronic database will be created, which will be regulated by relevant international standards. As already mentioned, the opposition to the implementation of such a system will be huge, because the greatest benefit of its creation will be to ordinary citizens, not medical workers. For the latter, it will be a remarkable headache. There are many developments in the world that can be used to implement this project, and the world is ready to create such project and has the necessary experience. Existing developments can be used, for example, Zoom databases like MongoDB, global networks. It's only a matter of financial costs, and these are not so much to create a system as to maintain it. All this will be expensive and will require the utmost interest of each person in the implementation of this project. It is necessary to point out the important value of such a system, not only in the presence of special control functions. It will also be a unique archive of scientific and practical material for the training of medical staff and the development of medical science in general. Without exaggeration, such an archive would be a great practical asset for the global medical community. How to use this is another matter. We must look for other approaches to the practical implementation of such a system, which can only be done by attracting a wide range of concerned enthusiasts for whom finance are not an issue. Pilot projects based on individual hospitals will not yield the desired results and may delay the implementation of such a system indefinitely. This may be something like trying to involve car thieves in voluntarily sponsoring the creation of a database of stolen cars. We must start by searching for cheaper implementation of the system as a whole. We are convinced of the expediency of such work because the work is relevant. There is the ability to perform it due to the availability of sufficient technical and methodological developments. All population is interested in this implementation, and the result of its implementation can make a significant contribution to the development of medical science and practice. Thank you. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them.
Thank you very much for your presentation, sir. Dr. Londa, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Professor. Ushen, sir. Basically, sir, I truly understand your this concept. If whatever the surveillance that is being done, if it is being saved from doing any editing, that's what exactly will serve what concept you are suggesting now. Am I correct on that, sir?
Yes, so the main issue is not to make the possibility to edit the information. Yes.
Right. But one thing is there, sir, just means what I think, that whenever there is an editing is available to any data set, that data set can be used for doing some other task like doing analysis and doing some automations, doing some control, auto controls and everything. So that can be used for developing the other technologies. Like let me just give an example where whatever the ECG signals being recorded at the hospitals, they are totally encrypted and nobody can edit that data set. That is true. That's why another research equipments that people have to use and they have to re-record their ECG signals or EEG signals by their research equipments for developing developing that ECG machines and EEG machines only. So somewhere will not that be a point where we need to look while doing this according to this concept?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah. So thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and participating in our session.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you too.
Definitely an issue that we need to definitely face for the integrity of the medical institution, and as you rightly said, the population of the world in general. Thank you for your time, sir. Moving on to our next presenter, Mr. Hyman Benfria from the University of Doran Ahmed Ben Bella in Algeria. And his paper title is Improving CBR Relative Process Through Multi-Label Text Categorization for Healthcare of Childhood Traumatic Brain Injuries in Road Accidents. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. First, I share my... It's okay? You can see?
Yes, that's perfect for you to go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for this wonderful conference. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Hisham Benfria. As you can see, I'm a PhD student at Oran University in Algeria. And the title of my presentation is Improving Severe Retrieval Process through Multi-Level Text Categorization for Healthcare of Childhood Traumatic Brain Injuries in Road Accidents. Yeah. Okay. In this presentation, a brief overview of the context of our study is presented in the introduction. Next, we describe first the proposed model based on a multi-level text categorization framework, which was used in this work for improve the retrieval step in the severe reasoning and the case-based reasoning. And next, result and discussion are presented next. According to the National Center of Prevention and Road Safety in Algeria, Algeria is ranked as the top of the list of countries in terms of number of deaths due to the traffic accident, which one death every hour. The number of child killed on or injured in road crash continues to increase years over years. We are interested in this work in childhood traumatic brain injuries. For us, this work is about helping a doctor to make a decision. Now, to achieve this objective, we must ensure the right behavior to be taken to reduce the sequelae and improvement of care at admission. Now, therefore, immediate assessment, treatment guidance, and physical gesture in TBS child primary health care must be done according to the protocol ABCD, airway, breathing, circulation, and disability approach. Now, in this work, we present a promising severe-based decision support system to be applied in the ABCD approach in taking care to a child's TB. Okay. So medical severe is an intelligence approach applying in medical diagnosis, prescription, and treatment to assist doctor in their decision making. Benefit to use severe in the medical situation are the ability to simulate the doctor thinking procedure. I have seen a patient like this and provide past cases that may be suitable for the current case. Now, typically, as shown in the figure, retrieval, revising, and returning are the case steps in any MCVR system for solving or predicting diagnoses and treatments for a new medical situation. Now, in this work, we are interested in improving the retrieval step by using a multi-level text categorization framework for intracranial lesion identification. As you can see, this is the proposed approach. The case acquisition process includes firstly defining manually the new TB situation cases for a child and who suffered from massive brain injuries. So the resuscitator defined his TB situation with clinical and paraclinical symptoms. Secondly, intracranial lesions are detected automatically by using the MLTC framework from a textual description, which represents a MRI scan report that contains several cerebral lesions caused in the accident. Report is done by a radiologist. Okay, now to evaluate our approach, we have experimented two scenarios as shown in the figure are proposed. Retrieval without filtering will represent the standard retrieval step of the severe cycle on the TB cases base, and the retrieve with filtering which represent the retrieval step on the basic reduced TB cases based according to the values lesion returned by the MLTC framework. A filter step is proposed to reduce the cases base before starting the process of searching for similar cases. This filtering will remove from the search space all cases having lesion different from those of the new case. In this study, we explored the MLTC framework proposed in our studios, our previous studies for the cerebral lesion identification. The main purpose is to identify cerebral lesion from MRI report, from textual representation of TB situation. Terms are extracted, limited, and weighting according to a linguistic pre-processing step. After this pre-processing, we can then use a multi-level categorization model previously generated from the learning dataset. We have experimented a variety of weighting schemes approach, best classifier, and variety of multi-level approach. The experiment result obtained showed that the combination of naive-Bayes classifier, SSA ensemble of classifier chains approach, and TF-EDF weighting have gave the best result in terms of user evaluation. A TB situation is represented by a couple situation and physical gesture, where the TB situation is the clinical sign, symptom, and the intraclinical lesion. The TB cases is composed on 36 descriptors in our case. It is split into a problem and a solution part, and it's organized according to the ABCD approach. Besides the attributes, identify the problem part for attributes have been added to represent the cerebral lesion, like cerebral edema, fracture, brain hemorrhages, and foreign body. Identify after the radiological examination and extracted from the MRI report. The proposed approach is tested on 174 TB cases collected from the pediatric critical care service of Oran Hospital between 87 and 1818. Well, to evaluate our approach, we have adopted for this experiment the following strategy. Firstly, the TB cases have been subdivided randomly into two parts. 70% of cases for the learning phase and 30% for the test phase. Secondly, we set the K to 3 for the near neighbor, and we have integrated all this in the G-Colibri platform. Finally, a majority vote is used for the final decision of the gesture to be predicted for the child. As we have said previously, the same strategy was tested on the two scenarios: retrieve without filtering, which represent the standard retrieval step of the severe cycle, and the retrieve with filtering, which represents the retrieval step on the basis of reduced TB cases based according to the values lesion returned by the MLTC framework. According to the result table, it can be seen that using MLTC framework improve performance of the traditional CBR methodology in terms of accuracy, precision, recall, and specificity. We note that using MLTC framework to identify the cerebral lesion give a better performance for prediction physical gesture in child TB healthcare. In this study, we have proposed a CDSS whose objective is to help the health professional in the critical care service for choosing the useful and the right physical gesture in child's TB. We have introduced the combining or the merging multi-level text categorization and CBR approach to the most important challenge in child's TB healthcare. The main goal of this study is to apply the concept of the multi-level text categorization based CBR approach to improve the quality of the retrieval steps. And finally, our approach has achieved better performance in terms of user evaluation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So, Dr. Londa, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Thank you, Aishan, for such a wonderful presentation. Aishan, I have one just query. Have you taken opinion about your approach from the health professionals that what you are?
Yeah, there is one problem that our cases bus is contained 147 patients. Look, it's very, it's not, it's small. Look, we can't, look, it's a prototype, just a prototype.
Yes, that's what I felt. Yes, it is it
This
is
is the
just a primitive work.
huh?
Work. It is just a primitive work. You just have
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
And
That's the idea is correct. Doctors have they propose to do this to comment dirais-je, to add values from the MRI scan report. It is their problems.
okay. What do you think about the reason of poor performance of the proposed approach? What do you think that what can be the reason of the poor performance of your approach?
The reason is that we, in the cases base, we don't retrieve the case or the case in the base case. Look, we filter. Firstly, we filter the case. Just we research in the same case from in the initial case. Look, this is the idea.
Okay. Thank you so much, Oshin.
Thank you.
Yes, I can just means I have a suggestion that in every stage that you in your approach, you have to just see that what best technology or method can be used in that each step. Then I think your performance will also improve. So thank you, Ashan, for your nice presentation.
Thank you.
Over
thank you very much.
Jay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time, sir. Over to our next presenter, O.E. Abiotan from Landmark University in Nigeria. And her paper title is Dynamical Analysis of Salmonella Epidemic Model with Saturated Indices Rates. Welcome. Hello, are you able to?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, we're able to hear you now.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. I hope you're well.
I am.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yes.
We can see your presentation. If you'd like to just full screen it, perfect. In your own time, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Can you? Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you and we can see your presentation. So, hello.
Okay. Yeah. Biodun. Here to present titled Dynamical Analysis of a Salmonella Epidemic Model with Saturated Incidence Rate. Yeah, Salmonella is a bacterium commonly found in the intestine of humans and animals. And it can also be found in raw meat, poultry, eggs, and unpasteurized meat. It is common among children, people with compromised immune system, such as older and adults, babies, and people with AIDS are more likely to have severe cases of salmonella. Then about 400,000 deaths is being recorded yearly in the United States, and more than 100,000 cases here in Nigeria. Salmonella is one of the most common causes of diarrhea globally. It can be spread through fecal oral route, ingestion of the organism, contaminated or properly cooked food. The common symptoms of salmonella include stomach or abdominal cramp, diarrhea, fever, chills, headache, and so on and so forth. Then the incubation period for salmonella is usually between 12 hours to 72 hours. Then symptoms last for 4 to 7 days. Then the aim of the research is to investigate an endemic Salmonella model with saturated incident rate using mathematical modeling. We have a lot of researchers that have done so much on it. We have a IGL 2019 that developed the model to describe the growth kinetic of Salmonella. We have a Reynard 2019. They also derive and analyze the model for the control of typhoid fever. But in this work, we consider the work of Yan 2007. He used a saturated function of the beta C and a C. So he considered constant population, but here we remodify his work to include non-constant population and saturated incident rate. The saturation terms in the model is the one that actually gives us the information about a particular disease, because we believe that when we have an information about a particular disease, then it can do us less or no harm. So this is the model. The S is the susceptible population. The I-C is the clinically infected population, those that are infected and they show clinical symptoms of Salmonella. The I-S is the subclinical infected individual, those that they already ill of the Salmonella, but they still carry the virus. They don't show any clinical symptoms, but they can still infect others. While the R is the recover or the remote class. Then the A that is pointing towards the S is the recruitment rate, either by purchase of dairy eggs or by immigration. Then the F is the proportion of individuals that are clinically infected, moving from susceptible to clinically infected. Then the E that is pointing toward the I-S is the proportion of, is the rate at which the clinically infected individual becomes subclinical. Then the H is the recovery rate. Then the R that is the small letter R that is moving from the recover class back to susceptible class is the immunity loss rate, because anybody that we assume in this model that anybody that recovers from Salmonella, that's diarrhea due to the antibiotics, they lost immunity and they go back to being susceptible. They are prone to have the disease again, because the disease, our recovery, we assume that does not confirm permanent immunity. Then at each stage of the model, we assume that anybody can die a natural death. So the death induced by Salmonella can only occur at the clinically infected individual. So that's the model. Then the flow diagram we just see resulted into these 4 differential equations. So we already tested it, is positive and is bounded. Then the disease-free equilibrium for the model is the recruitment rate proportion to the natural death. Then the X star, the IC star, the IS star, those are the endemic equilibrium solutions where we do the representation. Then we go to the positivity. We've already said that the model is positive and is bounded. So we go to the reproduction number. We calculate the basic reproduction number where we have our F and our V. Then the inverse of V to have our reproduction number, which is the R0, the threshold, the largest eigenvalue in our F multiplied by the V inverse. So that gives us our reproduction number. Reproduction number is the number of secondary cases that occur in a susceptible population. Then we go ahead to calculate the local and the global stability of the disease-free equilibrium. Then we use the Root-Hurwitz criterion to find out the local stability. So after the whole calculation, we found out that our disease-free equilibrium is locally stable because our R0 is found to be less than 1. Also, for the global stability, we use the Okonoga 2016 method to prove our global stability. And after the old testing, it was shown that the disease-free equilibrium is globally asymptotically stable. Also, we do the local and the global stability of the endemic equilibrium, where our R0 is greater than 1. So we use also rhetoric criterion to find to determine the local stability of the endemic equilibrium. And for the rhetoric criterion, these are the rules that is governing it. We already stated it. Then the endemic equilibrium, we also show it by taking the derivatives of each system of the differential equation that was resulted from the model we viewed. And we using a Kamunda et al. 2018 method, which it was shown that our endemic equilibrium is globally stable. Then we do the sensitivity analysis of our reproduction number, where we test for the sensitivity of the parameter that was used. Then we can see that the transmission coefficient, which is a beta C, beta subscript C and beta subscript S, and the recruitment rate, which we vary, they are positive. That means they have a positive effect on the model. And also the proportion of individuals that are clinically infected. Those are the parameters that we are taking into consideration. Then we go ahead by doing the numerical simulation of the model. We have our estimated values. Some are from established literatures, and some we estimated the value. Then from 0.4, we can see our susceptible is the dotted line. Then the clinically infected individual is the broken line, then the subclinically infected and the recovered class. So it can be seen that when we vary the saturation term, there is an increase in the susceptible class and the recovered class. If we look at the graph, how it's going, the saturation terms, which happen to be the terms that give us information about the disease, so it makes the susceptible class and the recovered class to reduce, then, to increase. Then the clinically infected individual and subclinically decrease and approaching 0 as time goes on. When we get to alpha equals to 0.7, it goes down to 0. It approaches 0. These are the discussion that I just said. So that means once there is sensitization about the disease, it can reduce the menace of salmonella. Also, when we vary the proportion of individual infected, clinically infected, from the disease can still be managed because our R0 at this level is still less than 1. But when we go further, from 0.6 up to 0.9, our R0 become greater than 1. That means if care is not taken, if quick action is not taken, there is possibility that there will be epidemic of the disease. And the only thing that can be done to reduce the menace of salmonella in the population is to increase the information, that's sensitization, and also reduce the clinically infected people. Then further research can be focused on cost of vaccination, the impact of long-term shelters, then possibly they will investigate the clinically infected individual. These are the references. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. I'm just going to ask quickly, are you presenting on behalf of Ms. Oluondo for the next paper also?
No, she'll be the one doing it herself, sir.
Not to worry, because she's not in the session yet. I was just wondering. Dr. Londe, if you have any questions, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Abodin, for your nice this presentation.
Thank you.
I have a question here. See, for this this particular this infection, it is a good thing that you have touched up this particular disease, as its transmission, its infection is causing a lot of troubles and larger population. What I think that for doing the stability analysis, a basic Routh-Hurwitz criteria has been used by you. Okay, why not to go and see some another stability criteria, because what data that you will be having the equilibrium data, disease-free equilibrium, and then epidemic equilibrium. After using those equilibriums, whatever the data that you will have, won't be there any other criteria that you can use for stability analysis? Why have you chosen Routh-Hurwitz criteria?
Yeah, we use the Hurwitz criterion because it give us an option to test for our reproduction number, where we input our parameters estimation into the results we get. It make us to know if, like when we check the endemic equilibrium results, we have our A1, A2, A3, then the A0. So when there are criterion governing the Routh-Hurwitz criterion, so when we test our parameter in our results, and it gives us the governing equation for Routh-Hurwitz criterion, then it makes us to know that then our analysis is correct, or the parameter value that was estimated is correct. I hope I get your question.
Yeah. That's fine. Thank you, Abodin. Thank you, Jay. We can go to the next presentation, please.
Sorry, thank you for your time. On to our next presenter, Oludone, also from the Landmark University in Nigeria, and their paper title is Global Stability Analysis of HPV Epidemics with Vital Dynamics. Welcome, ma'am. Hello, ma'am, are you there? I've asked you to unmute if you can, ma'am, on the button. Not to worry, we'll move on and we'll come back. So moving on to Ms. Chaima Darchuri from
Hello, good evening.
Oh, not to worry. Hello, ma'am.
Good evening, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening.
Good evening. What I'll do is I'll stop sharing the screen and I'll allow you to proceed with your presentation, ma'am. If you can share your screen, please.
Do you see my screen?
Not just yet.
What about
I don't believe that this is the correct paper, ma'am, and I don't believe your name is on this author's list. Is it?
Same question, Jay.
Hello, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello.
Sir, can we allow Chaima for the presentation? Then after we'll...
Yes, not to worry. What we'll do is, oh, sorry, it's the next one, Ms. Chaima. Yes, ma'am. If you want to go ahead with your presentation now, and we'll start with Ms. Oludun from next. Thank you.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen and we can also hear you, ma'am.
Okay, good. We will start now.
Good morning. First, I want to thank all the members entitled Automated Diagnosis of Multiple Sclerosis Lesion in Brain MRI using 3D flare acquisition. I will try to summarize my work and present it to you according to this following plan. We will start with a brief introduction, then pre-processing, lesion segmentation, result and discussion, and we finish with conclusion. We will start with a brief introduction. The evolution of multiple sclerosis, called MS disease, is almost impossible to predict in the long term. Multiple sclerosis is a chronic adrenaline disease. The diagnosis is based essentially on the identification of this abnormal region. Therefore, the wide variety of medical imaging modalities that have been developed. Mainly magnetic resonance imaging, called MRI machine, which is the first-line examination of MS disease diagnosis in the brain. Here we have the MRI modality, the MRI machine, and here we have the MR image. So we use the MRI to evaluate the activity of the disease over time and to monitor the disease evolution and treatment. Their identification is a complex spatial-temporal process. So here, many authors focus on the lesion detection problem using semi-automatic or automatic detection. For the semi-automatic, that requires a high level of anatomy knowledge to identify the lesion, observable variability, which is a tedious task and time-consuming. But for the automatic detection, that reduces the discordance, saving time, which is a robust segmentation and the accuracy of the diagnosis. In this work, we present a theoretical and practical approach based on image processing by semantic and medical image provided by an MRI machine. This is our workflow. So first we have the acquisition of MR image, reprocessing, some post-processing, and we finish with semi-automatic and automatic segmentation of MS lesion. The acquisition of MR image made in bacon format is always followed by distortion and degradation. Hence, interest of applying a filter first to eliminate induced noise. But noise suppression is one of the essential prerequisites in image processing, while trying not to alter the useful information. Prerequisites were applied to the image, such as an automatic contrast adjustment and dynamic inversion in order to better localize the lesion, which the lesion will appear black, but with background white. Here we have the source image, and here we have the image adjusted. The MR image in the brain contains the whole head, bone, fat. But generally, the user will not work on the entire brain, so the interest of the segmentation of the related part of the brain. This segmentation is to delimit and differentiate brain tissue and any other pathology, like white matter, cerebrospinal fluid (CSF), green matter, and lesion. In this image, we have no skull bone, no skin, and no fat. Let's start to the lesion segmentation. Our study was only on axial axis 3D flare acquisition. Here we have the axial, sagittal, and coronal acquisition. T1 with gadolinium injection, T2, and here we have TD flare. And this is the axis we will choose. Sequence T1 anatomical sequence study the cerebral morphology. The 3D flare is the T2 sequence with suppression of the signal of the CSF, which appear in the signal. After segmenting the different brain structure, we move now to the extraction of MS lesion. One segmentation approach have been applied to extract cerebral lesion. We classify this method into two groups, semi-automatic and automatic. For the semi-automatic segmentation, we have used a geodesic model, manual threshold, and morphological mathematical operation. For automatic segmentation, we have used fusil-simile, FCM, O2, and fusil-lens. In our case, we have used the automatic segmentation based on hybrid method, which combine FCM clustering with geodesic model that constitute the hybrid methods. The methods for fusil-simile require to assign pixel to each category by using fusil clustering and to minimize iteratively the proposed fraction, which contains the purpose to classify the image by grouping similar data. The iteration stops when the difference between two cluster centers is maximal. Each pixel will be assigned to a specific cluster when the membership is maximal. So here the output of FCM will be a binary image. So we will segment the lesion by FCM. We extract the edge of this lesion already segmented by FCM, and we make finally this edge evolve into to where delimit the. So after segmenting the MS lesion by FCM technique, we move now to the edge extraction, and the third step is to make this edge evolve using geodesic active counter implemented by level set. Is for semi-automatic segmentation using geodesic model. So first we will initialize manually the level set outlines, and we must indicate the number of times that the curve will evolve and by convergence or by divergence. Then the contour will evolve into where the limit is. But an automatic segmentation. So we don't need anymore the manual initialization of level set counter or to indicate the number of iterations. So our idea is to make this counter or this edge already extracted from lesion segmented by FCM evolve in the image under internal or external contrast. Here the term automatic segmentation. This difference is that the counter will no longer be manually initialized, has the term automatic segmentation. We present now our. For the acquisition, we have decreased the image by 255 by 255 size the matrix, and 5,000 image of patient suffering from multiple sclerosis disease acquired from the National Institute of Neurology, but only axial sequence weighted 3D program using MATLAB. A linear filter like median filter and Gaussian filter usually on small window, we can only eliminate anti-Gaussian and impulse noise, but it returns the outlines you see and make the lines or corner disappear. So here the interest of applying a median filter, which achieves to combine both an effective suppression of impulse noise and conserve sufficiently the important details. For automatic brain tissue segmentation, for the brain, we use the morphological operator combined with Gaussian growing. The goal here is to pass from 6 classes to 4 classes: CSF, gray matter, white matter, and lesion. The chance of the kernel of this operation for morphological operator is not chosen at random. The school is a disc-shaped, have the interest of applying a disc mass with a large size. So here we have the result. No bone, no skin bone, no fat, and no skin. For lesion segmentation, the FCM method followed by the deformant level set model was chosen. The segmentation by FCM is better when we minimize the number of classes, which in this case has the interest to segment the anternocranial part first. So here we have a segmentation with 6 classes, and here we have a segmentation with just 2 classes, and this is better. For deformer model, the result depends essentially on several parameters: the number of iterations, the time step of evolution of the counter, the force of the gradient, the coefficient of the contour, the Dirac function, the smoothing function Gaussian, and weighting coefficient. Here the result of level set with FCM. Normally in brain MRI, the image were divided into 6 clusters: gray matter, white matter, CSF, fat, bone, and the contrast of MS. So, decrease the number of classes, we applied first an automatic segmentation to all the related parts of the brain to delimit and differentiate brain. So here, with using a mathematical morphology combined with region drawing, we passed from 6 classes to 4 classes. To have a better segmentation of MS lesion, we apply always a contrast adjustment, automatic or semi-automatic, anyway, in order to reduce the number of classes from 4 classes to 2 classes, just the green matter and the contrast of multiple sclerosis. Here we have the result with 6 classes, and here we have the result with using just 2 classes, which is counter and slice manually with the bond by divergence and to limit the lesion. To have a better result, we need to increase the number of iterations using short time, because longer time accelerates the evolution of level set, which is a risk of flight to the limits. Small sigma, because large sigma lead to a smoother image, so we lose the counter and tail of the object. And negative inside the lesion, so the counter will diverge. So here we have the lesion already segmented by FCF and geodesic model. We will extract the edge, and we will make this edge evolve by divergence until we limit the lesion. Here we have used just 260 iterations. In order to obtain a quantitative evolution in methods and to evaluate the performance of our system, we have chosen 2 approach criteria: the precision rate and the execution time. So this table shows us an average recognition rate by 19.6%, which proves the good performance of our methods of recognition. Finish now with conclusion. MRI has become the most sensitive clinical test to evaluate the morphology of some human disease like multiple sclerosis in our case. The diagnosis of MS disease is based essentially on the identification of this abnormal region, which is an essential tool for the diagnosis of MS disease. In this work, we presented a theoretical and practical approach based on image processing to study this dissemination in time and space. Semi-automatic and automatic approaches were proposed in this work using an hybrid technique FCM and geodesic model. We can conclude that the best method is the geodesic active counter model compared to some classical segmentation methods. Some perspective and automatic segmentation of 3D and 3D deep learning or machine learning. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Dr. Londa, do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Shaima.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your Shaima for your presentation. One single question I have: have you thought about applying deep learning for this work? In this era of deep learning, choosing conventional clustering technique, is that a good idea?
Yes, of course, to avoid semi-automatic detection and identification, which is a tedious task and time-consuming. So we pass from low treatment to a good treatment, like deep learning.
Okay, Shaima, thank you. Thank you so much. Jay, maybe we can go to the
Thank you for your time, ma'am. We'll go back now to Oludone from Landmark University, Nigeria, and her paper, Global Stability Analysis of HBVR Epidemics and Viral Dynamics. Ma'am, are you here?
Good evening. Good evening. I am
Good evening. We can hear you and see your screen, yeah.
I'm here to make a presentation titled Global Stability Analysis of HBV Models with Vital Dynamics. I'll be guided by the following outlines: the introduction, the model formulation, the boundedness and possibility of solutions, the equilibrium point and reproduction number, the local stability analysis of the disease-free equilibrium, the global stability of disease-free equilibrium, the global stability of the endemic equilibrium, the numerical simulations, and our conclusions. Introduction. The liver is the most important organ of the human physique, and infection causes various diseases. And one of the diseases that triggers liver inflammation is hepatitis B. Hepatitis B itself does not cause liver cell damage directly. The immune system response contributes to liver swelling. Hepatitis B virus influences the liver cells when they enter the cells that are referred to as hepatitis, that being the immune system that is triggered at hepatitis and causes the hepatic. HBV infection does have two stages: the asymptomatic hepatitis B and the symptomatic hepatitis. The latent HBV is an infection that is not noticeable, and the DNA are non-noticeable upper surface antigen in the blood. Acute hepatitis B is the HBV exposure of the body patient after 3 months. At the early acute stage, the infected individual can have permanent immunity within few months of the immune system. But the chronic hepatitis resolves when the infected person fails to recuperate at the early acute stage, which develops a problem. HBV can be transmitted by various means such as the blood, the semen, and the vaginal secretions from one person to another person. Unprotected cells and sexual touch, sharing of such sharp objects, toothbrush is also another major HBV transmission. During delivery, HBV virus may also be transmitted from mother to an infant. Conversely, HBV is not transmitted from water, food, hugging, kissing, and casual contact such as pool, etc. Chronically, about 400 million are infected globally and is a worldwide health issue. Here in Africa, the extreme viral hepatitis, both B and C, are affected directly more than 700 people, while on the average, the chronic outbreak of hepatitis B and C affects 325 million people around the world. And the prevalence of this virus infection are 10 times more greater than the one of HIV epidemic. Over 3,600 individuals suffer from liver disease as failure and cancer associated with viral hepatitis B. Effective vaccine to avoid hepatitis B is on the market. Now we go to the mobile formation. The total population at time T, denoted as N of T, is divided into 7 subgroups corresponding to different epidemiological status. The N of T is the S of T plus L of T plus A of T plus C of T plus H of T plus R of T plus V of T, where S of T represents the susceptible populace, the L of T the latent, the A of T the acute, the C of T the chronically infected individual, the H of T the hospitalized individual, while the R of T are the removed individual, and the V of T are the individual that receive vaccination. It is assumed for this model that at time T, susceptible individuals enter the population at a constant rate of mu omega into 1 minus epsilon C, where mu is the rate of moving fat. Omega is the proportion of born without effective vaccination, while epsilon is the ratio of infected population that develop into chronic stage. Some individuals die at a constant natural mortality rate at minute, where individuals enter and have their disease death rates at mu1 and mu2 of T respectively at the C and H compartment respectively. We assume that HBV infected individuals that are hospitalized are not infectious here in this model. Susceptible of the individual else may acquire HBV when in contact with individuals in A of C and C of T populations respectively, where beta A and beta C are the contact rates for HBV infection at the acute and the chronic stage. HBV compartment respectively and mutation of higher risk of cause higher risk of HBV acquisition for people living with HBV parameter. So the parameter mu of delta of T is the migration rate, while epsilon is the immunity rate with waning vaccine. From that, we have a differential equation x prime of t, which is equals to mu omega into bracket 1 minus epsilon c of t plus phi of bt minus beta a of t plus gamma c of t plus gamma 3 plus mu naught plus delta 1 x of t r minus a of t and b minus c of t. L prime of t is beta of a of t plus gamma c of t s of t minus sigma plus mu naught plus delta 1 L of t. And a of t, the migration from sigma left a of t, L of t to a of t, and theta, bar theta 1 plus gamma 1 plus mu naught plus delta 1 minus I, a of t. And the differential equations are as follows as shown below. From that equation, in that system of equation, we observe that the variables are non-negative and the solutions, in system 2, we have observed that the variables are non-negative and the solutions are non-negative whenever t is greater than 0. The parameters considered are positive and show that the visible solutions are small. Now, this is going to be proved by a lemma. The initial parameters, which is called the boundedness of solution, we want to show that the solution is well bounded and well posed. So that if the solution is bounded and well posed, then automatically we know that this solution is workable and it is visible. So we have the lemma that the initial parameter value for the parameters are s of t is greater than 0, L of 0 is greater than 0, A of 0 is greater than 0, Z of 0 is greater than 0, H of 0 is greater than 0, T of 0 is greater than 0, and R of 0 is greater than when and the up totalization N of 0 is greater than 0. Then the condition is considered to be real for all value t greater than 0. Now, we want to prove this. We have that the x dt is mu omega 1 minus epsilon c plus phi of v minus b a beta a plus gamma c plus gamma 3 plus mu of c. We want to prove that whenever this is greater than 0, when the values beta a plus gamma c plus gamma 3 plus c mu naught plus delta 1x is greater than 0, then x is going to be the exponential of x minus beta a plus gamma 3 plus mu naught plus j1 is greater than 0. When that is greater than 0, it shows that x is greater than 0. And when x is greater than 0, the second part of the equation, where we have the LDT is beta a plus gamma cs minus sigma plus mu naught d of t. We want to show that the left-hand side with respect to them, when it is greater than the right-hand side, then invariably L is going to be greater than 0. And when they are all greater than 0, then it shows that the solution is bounded and well posed. We have the equilibrium point and the equilibrium. The model in the system 2, the model disease-free equilibrium is stated as E naught, which is equals to mu naught omega plus phi all over bar theta delta 1 plus epsilon mu naught plus delta 1 mu naught plus gamma 3 mu naught plus mu naught square, comma 0, 0. At equilibrium, it is only S naught and V naught that are not equal to 0. Every other compartment, the R, the A, the L, the C, the H are all equal to 0. The only point that are not equal to 0 are the susceptible and the vaccinated class. And at the endemic state, we have the S prime of t, the equilibrium point there is what beta B1, B2, B3 over beta 1, beta R, gamma Q1, gamma Q1, gamma 1 plus beta B3 over minus B3, B2, where the values of B1, B2, B3 are stated, where B1 is sigma plus mu naught plus delta 1, B2 is bar theta plus gamma 1 plus mu naught plus delta minus 1, B3 is theta bar theta 2 minus mu 1 minus mu naught plus mu 1 minus mu epsilon v minus b, and so on. Furthermore, we went further to calculate the reproduction number of the given equation. And the reproduction number is given as beta R mu over mu naught omega plus phi into beta plus mu omega epsilon plus gamma Q gamma 1 minus gamma 2 minus mu naught minus mu 1 over theta 2 all over mu naught square gamma epsilon plus beta 1 plus gamma 3 mu naught plus delta 1 5 plus beta plus mu omega 5 plus gamma 2 minus omega 1 minus theta 2 into phi 1 plus gamma 1 plus mu naught. The local stability analysis of the disease free equilibrium. A naught is totally stable if R naught is less than 1 and unstable if R naught is greater than 1. The resulting matrix is given as this. And the global stability of the index. So from here we can say when lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, lambda 4 is less than 0, from our calculations, we have our lambda 1 to be equals to minus epsilon plus mu naught, minus lambda 2 is minus mu naught, and lambda 3 is minus epsilon 3 minus mu naught minus mu 2, and lambda 4 is minus mu naught minus delta 1 minus gamma 3. Since lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, and lambda 4 are less than 0, and so the values are assumed positive. So if R naught is less than 1, then the disease-free equilibrium is stable. Then the global stability of the disease-free function. We are going to make use of the comparison theorem as postulated by Daniel Konogbe in 14 to show that the global stability of the disease-free is globally stable. So we have our F matrix to be this and our V matrix. And when J is a non-negative matrix, since S of T is less than or equals to this. So when we set that to equals to D, it is shown that the eigenvalues of the matrix F minus V are shown to have negative results when R naught is less than 1. It follows that the normalized element is stable whenever R naught is less than 1. Since LA of C tends to 0, as T tends to infinity. Thus, by the comparison theorem, we have our L of T, A of T to be equals to S naught and V naught as T tends to infinity. Hence, if it satisfies this condition, which we have shown that it satisfies the condition, then it is the disease-free equilibrium is globally asymptotically stable. The global stability of the endemic equilibrium. We are going to make use of the Lyapunov function to check for the stability at the endemic equilibrium. And the Lyapunov function is stated, the function at the Lyapunov state is L of x theta, L theta, A theta, C star, A star, R star, and V star, which is x minus S star minus S star ln S over S star plus L minus L star minus L star ln L over S star plus A minus A star minus A star ln A over A. And we're going to take the derivative along that line so that we have x minus S over S dx dt plus L minus S star over L dx dt plus A minus A star over A dx dt up to the V minus V star dv dt as stated in equation 3, so that when we expand and we simplify, we have our beta A minus beta into A plus gamma C plus gamma 3 plus mu naught beta 1 x star minus mu naught this, which is in our equation 23. When equation 23, we are now going to compartmentalize this equation into the positive and the negative side. The LD0 is going to be 0 on condition that S is equal to S star and L is equal to S star, A is equal to A star, and C is equal to C star, H is equal to A star, R is equal to R star, and V is equal to 0. So by the invariant principle postulated by Lyapunov in the year 1971, the greatest invariant set is going to be X minus A star in a singleton. So when this is in a singleton, it shows that E star is in the endemic equilibrium and is going to be globally asymptotically stable. Now we go to our numerical simulations. Our parameters values are stated and shown here in our table 2. So from that parameter value, this first figure, we are going to be varying different population, the susceptible population, S1, S2, S3, and S4. So we can see from this table that as X1 is, as the population is increasing, it is the susceptible population is increasing, because what this means is that you can see, The second place at the acute latent state, it is reducing because as we are varying the population, we are putting more people into this population, and since the susceptible population is reducing, then the latent is increasing rather. The latent population is going to be tends to be reducing, and the acute population also. We are just varying the different population size at different time interval. For the figure 2, the figure 2 shows the dynamic behavior of the various classes varying the acute, the chronic, the infected, and the compliant equilibrium. So we perform the various simulations taking the parameters from 0 to 60. We're using 60 days because that is the acute at 0 to 60 days. Any body carrying the disease, any sufferer, any infected individual, at 60 days, it will start showing in this infection state. So using the linear stability analysis, and we obtain the outcomes shown in figure 2. The dynamic behavior of susceptible behavior is represented in figure 2A, pinpointing the existence of the susceptible individual. Figure 2B shows that the latent population reduces with time. In like manner, the conduct of acute chronic individuals recovered and vaccinated are dynamically represented in figure 2E, 2C, D, and E. The part S of T, L of T, A of T, C of T, H of T, R of T, and V of T, this simply coincides to the disease-free equilibrium. That is, at X naught it reduces, and at V of T it increases, as indicated in equation 3, where X 0.012925 is less than 1. The dynamical behavior of the various classes being in the acute division of the recovery class was presented in figure 3. It is evident from the figure that increasing the parameters of the susceptible population increases the inverse relationship of the compartmental population with the variance of the approach parameter is shown in figures 3C and DC. This means that the minimized acute and chronic individual we can minimize the acute and chronic individual by increasing the parameter values. The display of the disparity of the time recovered and of vaccinated is shown in figures 3E, F, and C. An increase in the problem will increase the recovered population, causing by increasing the values of the parameter. It can barely be seen in the complementary simulation at treatment, that is observation both at the chronic and acute and chronic states of is a major link of regulating AV transmission. One of the most excellent control methods for the transmission of hepatitis B is the effective measurement of these parameters as substantiated by the simulations. Conclusion and recommendation. The deterministic model of hepatitis B was developed in this research that involves the impact of the acutely and chronically infected individuals. Disease-free and endemic equilibrium were ascertained and shown that it exists. The basic reproduction number was established by the next generation matrix. The global stability of the disease-free and the equilibrium has been proven and been shown to be asymptotically stable globally. Via numerical simulations, the influence of the hospitalized, acute, chronic, and the recovery rate were seen and thoroughly discussed in addition. And in addition, the very population was seen and thoroughly discussed. In the near future, by using the optimal control theory, we are going to mitigate the infection. We'll work out the control mechanism, which is under equilibration to work on in these problems. These are the references. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Dr. Londe, do you have any questions, sir?
Thank you, Abudon. It was quite similar to what Abidon has done, just change of disease, I think. Hepatitis came here. And but yes, thank you once again. One thing that I want to ask you, what assessment that you have got received from doing the local stability analysis and the global stability analysis? If I just ask you to compare that in terms of your disease.
Thank you, Professor Nadu. While we are saying a local stability and global stability, Local stability means that we are checking the we are checking for the stability of that disease near the equilibrium point. At a point that is very near the equilibrium point, that is the local stability. But global stability, when we're saying we're checking for the global stability of a disease, we are saying that at anywhere around the equilibrium point, that will this disease be globally stable, anywhere around the equilibrium point. So that means if you take our at the equilibrium point, let's assume you take a value, you take a compartment further than the equilibrium point. Will that disease will it attract the equilibrium point and draw it closer to itself? Then when it does that, then we say that it is globally stable. But for the local stability, it's just near the equilibrium point.
Thank you, Oludhan. Thank you all the
Thank you, ma'am.
speakers who has presented today in this
Yeah.
session. Congratulations to all of them for successfully completing their presentation. It was really indeed a nice time that I have spent with all the speakers, understanding their innovative concepts, and even from Vassal sir, that why video recording is so important, and all the other speakers and those who have taken topics of today's very important from the today's point of view, right from Alzheimer, and then talking about health monitoring systems, and even traumatic brain injuries by Aishan, and then the epidemics has been covered by the Abedin and Olodun. So thank you once again, and to all the participants, and congratulations. Over to Jay.
Thank you, sir. So I just want to close off our ceremony officially now. So I just want to sincerely thank our authors and all of our excellent presentations and their contributions to this session. All of our participants for being part of this international congress. And I hope that this session was informative and knowledgeable as well. All the presenters will be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. And further, all the papers have already been forwarded to Springer. The publications will be live to view within the next 4 to 6 months, kindly cooperated by the team at ICICT 2021. I'd also like to give a special thanks to our chair, Dr. Narendra Londe, for chairing the session. And this is just a token of our appreciation on behalf of the team at ICICT 2021 and the Global Knowledge Research Foundation. Thank you for your valuable time, sir.
Thank you, Jay.
Before we do,
meeting you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Jay. It was a pleasure meeting you.
No worries. Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting all of you, and it was an honor listening to all of these papers and discussions. It's truly inspiring. There was one thing that we just need to do before we end the session, and that's I request everyone to turn on their videos if they can, just so we can take a screenshot of the Zoom tiles, just for ICICT's benefit and as some memories. So I'll give you a few seconds just to do that. No worries, guys. I'm sure you guys do look amazing. If you do want to turn it on, like, it's fine. Perfect, not to worry. Okay, guys. Smile. Perfect. Thank you very much. That is the end of the session, and that was the last session of the ICICT as well. So thank you for joining. Thank you for coming and spending your valuable time here. Thank you for your additions to the presentation. And yes, I hope you and your families good health in the current pandemic. And yeah, once again, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay, for being an amazing host. Thank you, Shir, for sharing the session. Thank you, all participants. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, have a nice weekend.